Last time I touched briefly on the Hegelian Dialectic. And this week I will be looking deeper into this concept, namely the three laws governing how the dialectic operates. Law number 1, the law of unity and struggle of opposites. An object or a process will transition into something else due to an external force and or by the changes in its own internal forces. Law number 2, the law of transition from quantitative to qualitative change. An object or process involving a sequence or a sum of states must inevitably produce some phase change or qualitative discontinuity. This is to say that while quantitative change is continuous, qualitative change, which is the flip side of quantity, may exhibit discontinuities. For instance, a simple phase change may be electron orbits, the transition from liquid to gaseous phase in an element, or even the sudden die-offs exhibited by runaway overpopulation in certain species. Law number 3, the law of negation. Each process or stage contains within itself the preconditions for developing into another stage. This is to say that every iteration or approximation contains within itself problems and contradictions, which will require it to develop into another iteration to meet those problems or contradictions. The succeeding iteration will have different such problems and will give way to another iteration and so on until a perfect synthesis is made. To put these concepts more simply, within a dialectic there is a thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. This triad is always apparent. It is always around at the same time, and it works in an action of struggle, process, and change. Most of the time we do not recognize the triad of the dialectic, especially if we are not equipped with the eyes to see it. These three laws tell you how to recognize the antithesis, how there may be a synthesis, and through that find the thesis. If you're not trained to see it, you will not recognize it. It is the same concept as recognizing weather patterns before a storm. If you are not aware of shifts in weather patterns, you will be taken by surprise in a storm. These are not just trivial laws, they are very profound. They can give you a deep, satisfying, and explanatory understanding of every single pattern you have ever undergone in your life. Everything you have ever had happen to you and every single choice you have ever made in your life. If you frame it in the dialectics terms, you will be able to see with great clarity why you did something, what you were responding to, what was your impetus, and your will at that time also. These are not just simple things like learning in school the Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. No, just like the Pythagorean theorem, you can use the applications of that theorem to build BC place and so on. Well, the same thing can happen with these dialectical laws. You can use their applications to understand every single thing that is happening around you. They are that general, that powerful, and with just a little application of intuition, they can yield great detail and wisdom. Will you recognize the dialectic in the world around you? This has been Tuesday Talks with Irene. Join me next week. Like, share, and subscribe, and never be afraid to pursue the why.